This past year saw a notable change as both state and federal governments became more aggressive about taking big tech to court. The U.S. Department of Justice and Google are awaiting the verdict of a landmark antitrust trial that alleges Google's anti-competitive behavior led to its dominance. And Meta is now the target of state lawsuits, alleging it harmed the mental health of kids and misled the public about online safety. Stephanie Tsai focuses on that part of the story.
Now, more than 40 states and the District of Columbia filed lawsuits against Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. State attorneys general argue that Facebook and Instagram deliberately manipulate their apps in ways that addict kids and teens and have failed to keep them off, despite age limits. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser helped lead the lawsuit.
Meta, under federal law, cannot and should not be marketing to young people, collecting data without parents' awareness or consent. They're doing just that. Meta has identified young people, 11, 12-year-olds, as an untapped and valuable audience and engaged in behavior in violation of federal law.
There have been multiple stories as well focusing on Meta's struggles to protect kids from online predators and even promoting pedophile accounts through its algorithms. Jeff Horowitz's reporting in the Wall Street Journal has led to increased public and legal scrutiny of social media, and it's the focus of his new book, Broken Code: Inside Facebook and the Fight to Expose Its Harmful Secrets. Jeff, thanks so much for joining the NewsHour. The state's lawsuit, I want to go back to that. It claims that Meta has misled the public about the risks to teens and younger children. You published an investigation recently about pedophiles on the platform. Talk about some of the disturbing things you found.
Sure. I think all of this kind of goes back to the platforms being very good at deliberately seeking out sort of communities that are willing to consume content voraciously and then serving it up to them. And, that can be good. That can connect you with useful hobbies. It can also connect people who desperately want to believe the 2020 or the 2024 election is being stolen, for that matter. And it can connect people who wish to sexualize children. And so the system is really good at that. It is extremely good at personalization. The problem is that it frequently is operating well beyond the capacity of even the people who run it to understand and intervene to stop harmful outcomes.
Okay, so in this research, I understand you set up a test account on Facebook, and it led you down a pretty dark path. For example, you found a group where hundreds of thousands of people who were interested in incest had joined, correct?
I wish we'd found only one. This is very consistent. The platform and its groups you should join algorithm basically will, as soon as you start following just a couple of kind of slightly suspect entities, will start pushing hard into like increasingly dark content. I mean, like really really just like awful things involving the kidnapping of children was literally a subject of one group. And this is routine. The company has tried to work on cleaning that system up. We spent 6 months sort of noting to them where they were coming up short, and it is an ongoing problem to this day.
And you have another article out just in the last few days about Meta's introduction of encrypted messaging on Facebook and Instagram. Talk about how your reporting shows the impact that can have on efforts to stop child exploitation on the platform.
Yeah, so for years, encryption has been something where sort of privacy advocates are in favor, law enforcement and governmental groups are against because, it impedes investigations. I think something that has kind of gone unnoticed, but will perhaps soon be noticed because Meta is adopting end-to-end encryption on both Facebook and Instagram, is how this technology, when used, paired with a fully public social network, becomes something potentially really volatile and potentially really useful for predation. Because having one entity that is attempting to sort of prey on another group, whether that's for human trafficking, child exploitation, recruitment of people for drug cartels, And not having any insight into the system is something that is really going to be a problem for certain efforts to combat that stuff. So in other words, if you can't actually investigate the networks using the methods that traditionally these investigations have been done with, you're going to have sort of groups such as those large pedophile groups that are actively connecting people and then sending them pretty much straight into the dark web.
And law enforcement, you've given examples, have used messaging and their ability to access that messaging for prosecution. Meta, of course, believes that privacy is the goal here, and that's why they want the encryption. Meta has also issued responses to your reporting, including the recent report on pedophile content on the platform, in which they say, we work hard to stay ahead. That's why we hire specialists dedicated to online child safety, develop new technology that roots out predators, and we share what we learn with other companies and law enforcement. The statement goes on to say we are actively continuing to implement changes identified by the task force we set up earlier this year. Jeff, that's a reference to the child task force that was set up after your reporting in June about content, explicit child content on Instagram. My question is, has Meta addressed all the issues you've uncovered in your reporting, and that's in your book?
Certainly not on any of those fronts. No, the task force has been shut down. They haven't really paid much attention to that or highlighted that much. And even though the problems are still ongoing, no, I think there are, some fundamental questions of the platform wanting to not take responsibility for the ways that it has reformulated human communication. This is something where, like, oh, this is just the internet. People do bad things on the internet. Who are we to, who are we to be able to stop that? The issue that arises here is that none of the communities that exist on these platforms are ones that would form in real life.
Jeff Horowitz, author of the new book, Broken Code, thank you so much for joining the NewsHour.
Thank you.